What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture, August 18th, 2022. A lot going on in Cardano right now. Catastrophe? I don't know. We're going to talk about it. I am joined by Adam Dean, Andrew Westberg, two builders, pioneers, leaders in Cardano community in the crypto space. Really smart guys. What is up? Adam and Andrew, how are you?
Great, Dan. How's it going?
Doing pretty good. A lot going on in crypto Twitter and Cardano Twitter in particular right now.
Yeah, it got a little spicy yesterday and today on crypto Twitter for Cardano. Yep.
It did, especially Adam. You had a nice little thread, and we're actually gonna dig into that. But how about Adam and then Andrew? Introduce yourself to everybody, and then we'll dive in.
Yeah, so my name is Adam Dean. I am the co-founder of BuffyBot, formerly the Buffy Stake Pool. I've been in Cardano since late 2019 during the ITN days, running stake pools and developing for the blockchain. And, you know, here we are, just a passionate community member now at this point, building on top of rather than running a validator anymore.
I'm Andrew Westberg. I've been in Cardano as an investor since 2017. I joined around the same time Adam did for the ITN as a stake pool operator. I also develop a lot of tools for pool operators like Chore Manager and CNCLI. And I work on various teams in the Cardano ecosystem now, like the Drip Drops team and the Noom team.
Okay, cool. So both very busy, clearly.
Yes, full-time Cardano.
So full-time Cardano. You too, Adam, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so this is going to really help to do a nice little share screen. We were just having a little technical difficulties. All my fault before we started this, but this is going to help for context. And I'm going to start with, let's start with yesterday, a tweet from Andrew. He retweeted Charles, which it's not on the screen right now, but it says, do not upgrade to 1.353 on MainNet yet. So, Andrew, can you just real quick, just some context to why you tweeted that and what the kind of real-time situation was there?
Yeah, so day after day after day, we had been told by the IOG devs, don't upgrade to this version on MainNet. It's not ready for MainNet yet. And so the tweet from Charles kind of came out of left field for me, and it was encouraging stake pool operators to upgrade on MainNet, even though there had been no community testing. So they had spun up two new test networks for Vasil. Neither of those had yet gone through the hard fork with the latest node version that he was suggesting we upgrade to. The only testing that happened at this point when he made that tweet was internally at IOG. And this came right after we had several releases from IOG that they had said were probably the final version that we were going to go through the hard fork with, and it was community members that kept finding these, as Adam called it, catastrophic bugs, which is why we had a 0.0, which they said that was probably the final release. And then we had a 0.1 and a 0.2. We found a final catastrophic bug in that release, and then now we had the 0.3, and the community had not gotten a chance to test yet at this point. And so I felt like the community was completely left out of the testing process, even though we're a very big part and partner to IOG. I think we're critical to the testing of Cardano. And it just seemed like all our concerns were kind of brushed aside.
And let's talk about that too for a second. Just the whole testing thing, right? Because a lot of people, I mean, including myself, when we start digging into those technical trenches, right? And part of that is the testing and what's going on behind the scenes. A lot of us are kind of like, we have no idea. You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of Cardano people that are just like, all right, Vasil hard fork sounds like it's going to be cool. Scalability, nice. It's going to help, cool. But like they don't know the depths of it, right? So what is the importance behind testing? What is the importance behind the TestNet, for instance? And why I think when you start kind of bringing in something like hard fork combinator events at Cardano, why is it unique to Cardano? Why is it so important for Cardano?
Adam, you want to take that one?
Yeah, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to kind of clarify, because I know my post was a little spicy, got people worked up today, that this was testnet doing what a testnet should do. Um, there was a new node software created. IOG did their testing. They said, hey, it looks good. We think we're ready. They turned it over to us. We tested it. We found out it wasn't good. But now, unfortunately, we've had this testnet going since before Shelly happened. All of us pool operators, this is how we got set up. This is how we practice. Like, okay, here's how I register my keys. Here's how I register my stake pool. And here's how my pool makes blocks, and I can confirm that it works before Shelly ever began. That chain had been going for 2 years, and this is the first time that we've gone through a hard fork combinator event, and now the current version of the node is not compatible with that testnet anymore. New features were added in 1.35.3. The feature set was changed slightly, so it's not compatible with 1.35.2. So again, it's an abundance of caution at this point. We have these two new testnets, like Andrew mentioned, getting spun up and brought online, but they're not complete end-to-end yet. So nobody's been able to do a full end-to-end test from a community standpoint to say that we can comfortably say, yeah, this is good. And we look at things like pooltool.io this morning, and 15% of MainNet nodes are already running this new version. So it's really, again, an abundance of caution and care for the community that sometimes we need to throw kind of a red flag up and a wake-up call and say, hey, stop and take notice. We need more community participation in testnet so that we can catch these things earlier and hopefully resolve them before we get so close to launch.
Okay. So this is right here part of the problem, right? Operators rushing to upgrade, and it created this chain density, as you call it. Like, that's kind of the thing that triggered a big part of the problem.
It's the rush to upgrade, and the rush to upgrade. I mean, normally for most normal releases, if the quality is good and we've had a chance to test it and it's been through a hard fork on testnet, everything's good, we're fine. You know, we go and we upgrade. But in this particular case, we had just gotten done finding a catastrophic bug that IOG had not found in their testing. And it was several point releases. So the trust was already fraying at that point. And then the push from Charles to tell everybody, hey, just upgrade, YOLO it, that was the final straw for me.
So IOG should be the one finding these issues. Is that what
no,
everybody's
I
basically
disagree with that.
anticipating?
I think IOG should recognize the value of a public-private partnership for the testing. Right now, it's like we can't even test because our nodes cannot make blocks on this new network yet. It's too new. You have to wait several epochs to get your pool spun up, your delegation up, and then you can even start making blocks. Then we can start testing stuff. So just to say upgrade before we've even had a chance to test was not good. I do want to clarify there was a stake pool operator call this morning. IOG was, very understanding. They listened to all our needs. There will be a special network spun up just so we can do very specific testing a little faster. So they are listening to us at this point. So that's the good news in all of this.
Okay, that is good. So would you say a lot of this is kind of a communication thing, and there's kind of failure from a communication standpoint?
I would say yes.
Okay.
But there,
Yeah, and I think I even touched on that in that thread that you have on the screen there, is that it's a lack of clear communication. We need more, this is good, this is ready for testnet, right? And get some community consensus, get at least some big co-stakeholders aside from IOG that will sign off and say, yeah, I think this is MainNet ready, because we do have a lot of, I guess, less tech-savvy stake pool operators and stuff that don't necessarily know what to even go and test. So they see word come from on high from somebody like IOG's Twitter or Charles's Twitter, and they take that as canon. And ironically, there's a ton of trust there when usually when we're talking blockchain, we're talking about getting to a trustless point where we don't trust anybody, right? But we have this immense faith and trust in IOG and Charles, but they're all human and they're all fallible. They can make mistakes just like the rest of us. So, take your time. Let's test it. We don't need to rush. We're not trying. We're already better than 99% of the competition. We all know that, so we don't need to rush this. Let's get it right. Is really my point.
Yeah, and you actually said that right there. That's what worried you the most, right? The uneasy feeling came from the rushing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think IOG definitely needs to recognize the community's competence when it comes to testing. There have been several occasions, and this may not be public knowledge to everybody out there, but there have been at least 3 occasions that I'm aware of where it was community members that put the brakes on something that prevented a catastrophic failure on Cardano. There was one right at the launch of Shelley. There was this most recent one, and then there was another security-related issue. It was a potential denial of service attack that was reported through the proper channels to IOG, and that got eventually resolved. But there are actual community people that are protecting the network. So I think what we need from IOG is when they tag a release on GitHub, it should be tagged first with the testnet it's going to, and then there should be another tag every time it's ready for the next testnet. And all we get right now is MainNet ready. So it just comes out of IOG and they start upgrading their MainNet nodes. It's bonkers when you've got a network holding this much value on it.
Yeah. So, and that's probably the biggest piece of what you would both and many others like to be changed, correct? That entire process. Yeah. I think, and tell me what you guys
maybe
think
not even
this.
changed, but improved, right? There's room for improvement, and we're all growing and learning together as we go through this. But yeah, like Andrew said, it's more money on the line every day. It's more weird moving pieces like smart contracts and new versions of Plutus. So there's a lot more testing that needs to happen. And again, I'll just hark it back. I, for one, my personal opinion, don't feel like there was nearly enough time for 1.35.3 to be tested, not having an end-to-end testnet that's publicly accessible.
Right. The Plutus pioneers
Sunday swap, JPEG
exactly.
store, nobody has tested anything on 1.535.3 right now. So there's no way you can say this is mainnet ready.
Okay, so I think, and I just want to pause for a second, because as we're talking about all this and this is all transpiring and everything, when I cover Cardano, I don't dig a lot into the tech side, but I do talk about, one of the things that drew me personally to Cardano is because how it has had this, slower approach to building, and that lends itself to the security and the things that we appreciate about Cardano, right? And so, yes, things moved a little slower and they move a little slower, and we like that. But for me personally, sometimes I think, man, Cardano's just built, it is just solid. It is strong. You kind of forget a little bit, at least I do, that there could be a disaster actually waiting, right? We see headlines about other blockchains and disasters, but we kind of are like, a lot of times grateful Cardano is built differently. We say that a lot, but it's not perfect. And I think this is a good time to reflect on that. Because like you guys said, this is, there are human beings behind these processes and these systems and everything. So I think it's a good time to pause and kind of think about that. But moving forward, I guess what's from your perspective, both of you, what's like the best path forward through this situation? And then, finally getting to Vasil, like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think just allowing us a little bit of time to test it, allowing the dApp developers out there to test on these new networks as well, so we actually see some of the new Plutus V2 stuff going through them, see an actual hard fork on 135.3 that's successful publicly. Currently, the only test networks that have successfully forked are internal to IOG. We've never seen it externally. The only hard fork we saw was the one on the old testnet, and that failed. So Yeah, I think we definitely have a path forward after the SPO call this morning. I think in the future I would like to see an improved process, and I would like to see the community involved in actually approving releases for MainNet. I think they have all these check boxes for all the different teams inside of IOG that have put a green check mark next to the release. I think there should be something there for either the guild tools group or the SIP process people, or another good group that could approve the release. Maybe the Spacra stake pool group. Just from their testing, they approve the release for MainNet. I think that would be good to involve more parties than just IOG to say something is MainNet ready.
And doesn't that kind of help? Because there's supposed to be an eventual transition to like decentralization, right? So isn't that a piece of that puzzle and that story, like community involvement when it comes to these types of upgrades? Isn't that part of it?
Especially for testing. We've seen, like I've said, there were 3 incidents where the public community saved the network, where we would have had a catastrophic rollback or failure had an incident happened. In 2 of those cases, it would have been catastrophic had the release rolled out. The other one was a security attack vector that was eventually closed. But yeah, I think it's just a lack of recognition of the community's value to the testing process that needs to be recognized, and it needs to be formally recognized.
Okay. And actually, that brings me to a tweet Adam just tweeted not long ago at all, right here. He said, if my post today scared you, good. I love the bluntness. Ask your Cardano SPO if they're testing on TestNet. Ask your favorite DApp if they're testing on TestNet. We have an amazing community, and IOHK as core developers are not immune to developer blindness. Can you speak on that a little bit, Adam?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times, you as the developer developing a new system, you know exactly how it works. You know which button to push in the correct sequence in order to make it turn green instead of turn red. I think there's a couple of famous, probably mangled quotes, one by Mike Tyson and another by a famous Polish general that says essentially everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, or they have a plan, or no, every plan is only as good until it makes first contact with the enemy, sort of thing. And so as a developer, you never know all the weird, stupid, silly ways that sometimes your users are going to use your system. That's why video games and everything goes through an alpha and a beta phase. So I think, like Andrew said, some acknowledgement from IOG that the community is out here and we're strong. And we are ready, willing, and able to put these things through their paces and test them thoroughly, because we all are here because we want Cardano to succeed, and we want to make these big mission statement differences. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to be here, and if we need to be critical, we're going to keep being critical. When we have big wins, we're going to keep celebrating together, and this is all part of a decentralized future. Is butting heads sometimes, and that's okay, because it's how we get stronger and grow.
Agreed, and that's what you say right there. Working together, right? I mean, that's all it can be. And I feel like every week that passes, I see the community working more and more together, building bridges, and I think that's going to continue. And I think even situations like this help that. So, Andrew, what are your thoughts in that regard?
Yeah, no, I definitely think we're still on the right track. We're all on the same team at the end of the day, and I make my living off of Cardano. The developers at IOG make their living off of Cardano, and sometimes we don't see eye to eye, and most of the time we do. And I was attracted to Cardano for the same reasons you were, Dan, that it was the slow, methodical blockchain. I was a developer for many, many years in the corporate world, where it's like, okay, I don't care if it's ready, throw it out there and we'll let the end users be our testers. And that is not viable for a financial operating system. It's got to be, a SpaceX rocket level of quality, or well, maybe that's a bad example, but at least airline level quality of code.
Yeah. But you both agree it can be fixed.
Yeah.
It will be fixed.
Yeah, I think so, and we'll continue to have conversations with the folks at IOG. Their DMs are always open to us. They've always been very happy to engage the community. Sometimes we punch it out in public because that's where the conversation starts. But a lot of times behind the scenes, we're sitting down at Texas at Consensus, smoking a cigar and having beers together. So,
that's a nice organic way and path to growth, is with the community doing things like that and just working through these issues. I should have asked this at the beginning. How bad is it, right? Like this situation. I should have asked that, because I think that's like the biggest thing. There's going to be headlines. There's going to be stuff coming out. It's probably being typed up right now. How bad is it?
It already is. Somebody commented on that most recent kind of kumbaya tweet that I shared, going, "Hey, guess what? They already wrote a headline about what you said."
There we go.
So
there we go.
Yeah, I mean, it begins. People are going to use it, but I mean, all of us that are here, I feel like we've been through a lot worse FUD than this already. It's not the end of the world. This is testing being done right, but with that needs to come that word of caution. Let's be extra careful next time, because we made a really big boo-boo. That's not undoable. We've lost this 2-year-old blockchain that we had. It's done. It's gone. We're not getting it back. So that's a big oops. And thank goodness it happened on TestNet. But with that said, once bitten, twice shy. Let's be extra shy with this next version and just wait, be cautious, and test it appropriately. That's really the most important message at the end of the day. So thank goodness this happened in the right environment. This was done appropriately. Now let's just be extra cautious and move forward correctly.
Yeah, and on the SPO call, at the very end, I did share what my testing plan was. And I have a test that I plan on running on this new test they spun up, and everybody was kind of like, oh, that's interesting, and that didn't make me feel good, because then I realized that nobody at IOG had thought of or run that test. So things are probably okay. I'm pretty confident in the release, but I still want to do my own testing. That's just where I'm at right now.
Yeah, understood. That is going to make a great headline on Cointelegraph. Cardano, things are probably okay. Oh man, this is great. You know what? I have so much confidence, and it's actually because of people like you two. You're a big reason why I have so much confidence when we go through these types of ups and downs, and why I have so much confidence in Cardano blockchain, and the fundamentals behind it. Is because
it's not
this
just
stuff
us.
is over my head, and you guys are, you and others. I mean, you're builders. You're really doing some important work for the space and the blockchain.
Neither Adam
itself,
and I were the pool operator, or the developers that found the particular bugs.
Well, shout out to them as well.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I did mention them in my. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Yeah, you called them out in your tweet.
I called them out, and Mike from Pool Tool really helped with doing the research on that. But yeah, Martin Lang from ADA, Atada. Is that how we? Yeah.
That's how I say it. I don't know.
But yeah, he was the one that noticed that there was a ton of forks happening on MainNet when 1.35.2 started appearing in the wild on MainNet, and he went, well, why? And then worked with Mike from Pool Tool to diagnose that it was actually a difference of those two node versions, 1.34.1 versus 1.35.2, that was creating incompatible forks and presenting a problem. So all credit to them. I'll keep saying it all day. Almost every post I do on Cardano includes the hashtag community, because that's what we are. It is so much bigger than any of us individually, right?
Yeah.
It's all of us collectively together, and that's I think the most important part to continue to focus on at the end of the day is we're all in it together and we are a community. So doesn't mean we all love each other all the time or agree, but we're all here together.
Yep. Cool. Those are good final words. I'm grateful to you both for coming on here so last second, dealing with my like 30 minutes of technical difficulties. You rock. You both are awesome. So thank you. And thanks for everything you do.
Yeah, well, thanks for jumping on and helping to, use your platform as well to kind of raise awareness and have some more in-depth discussion, because we all know 280 characters is going to get twisted out of context very quickly and rapidly. So.
Yep, we'll keep the dialogue going. So thanks again, both of you. God bless.
All right.